Hi, I'm Bruce Fretz, and I'm here to introduce the great Ray Liotta.
Well, part Wozniak, I guess.
Well, let's talk about Wozniak. He's a hell of a character. What intrigued you first about him? How much did you know when you took on the role of how complicated he would turn out to be?
Well, that's a process that I learned. I took it on. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it at all. I was looking to do like a 13-episode thing, but I wasn't sure what this. I just had trepidations. I love the fact of like, wow, bisexual cop. How many times you get to do that? So that was an intriguing part. But then I met the creator, Jack, and you know, he showed me the boards, because I didn't want to be the guy sitting at the desk who says, do that, and at the end they come back and I say, good job. I wanted to be right in the middle of it. And that's what they had in mind, so I liked it.
Had you met or worked with Jennifer Lopez before?
I have not, and that was a question mark, an obvious question mark too, because all I've seen her done is, all I've seen her do is the romantic comedies.
Yeah.
So, but then she's Jenny from the block, so I started thinking, you know, she's a Queens girl. She has to know there's a certain intensity here that's great, and I just rolled the dice, and she couldn't be better. I thought that she was gonna be like, well, man, she's music, is she gonna be a diva? No, that's me. I turned out to be the diva. I had no idea I had that in me.
What makes you a diva?
Huh?
What makes you a diva?
The first year, I wanted to make a show. One of the reasons why that I heard that they came after me is because of the kind of movies that I've done before that are, you know, intense and real. And they wanted to have that to counterbalance, I think, Jennifer, because it would have been just a different show. What'd you ask me again?
What makes you a diva?
Oh, because the first year you're getting directors. I've been really, really lucky in terms of the directors and movies that I've made. And so I know a certain way of working, and they weren't doing it. All they were concerned about was getting a long shot, a mid shot, then a close-up. And there was no artistic conversation or anything about it. And it made me really frustrated. And I was a yeller. I was like, what are you fucking kidding? Come on. It just would get to me, because if I'm doing something, you want it to be as good as it could be. And I saw potential here. All the actors were great. The stories were great. And it was just, but because it was a new show coming out and nobody knew what to make of it, I guess they couldn't get the quality of director like that we got this year. And then we were spoiled because Barry Levinson directed the pilot. So you're working with Barry, so, oh my God, this is great. And then you get, you know, not Barry, and it's just a different thing. Right. Somebody like Barry at that level, there's a flow and there's an openness and so I yelled.
Do you think of Woz as a hero or a villain or something in between, or is that helpful to you to think of characters in those terms?
Yeah, I don't judge it. All I know is they told me that my daughter had killed herself when she was 19. And that's when Jennifer comes into my life right around that time. And she kind of represents the daughter that just died. She got in trouble. I don't know how many people saw the whole season, but she got in trouble, and I helped her out of it. And then she became part of this unit that I'm in. Ask me again. My mind just goes like a mile a minute.
What was the question? Oh, the hero or villain?
Oh, yeah, no. He loves his family. He loves getting the bad guys. And he definitely is an eye for an eye. You know, there definitely is a vindictive quality to him. But wanting peace on the streets, it really comes from, like, one of the lines yesterday, we had these dealers we finally got rid of. We said now Brooklyn, you know, could the streets of Brooklyn could, you know, rest a little now. And that ultimately is what he wants. It just there's so many complicated things and people that they weave in. It's just, I was just telling Jack, is he here? Yeah. Just the way they do the stories and the connections and what happens in 1 then shows up in 8, the way it's complicated. It's a really interesting show.
So the episode we just watched, you have the speech about your daughter. When you do a scene like that, how do you evoke that kind of emotion? Are you a method guy, or are you...
The scene about my daughter...
having killed herself.
in a confession.
Yeah.
That's what they showed today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you just pretend. It's really what it is. And I'm a big believer in studying, and I never wanted to be an actor, and I only became an actor because I didn't want to take math and history. Because I didn't want to go to college. My dad said, go to college, go for a year, take whatever you want. I said, no, I'll just take liberal arts and go down to the University of Miami, because at that time, you just needed a pulse to get in there. So I'm there, I'm in line. I says, all right, so what subjects do I have to take? And she said, well, math and history. I said, no fucking way. And I looked up, and right next to it was for the drama department. So I just took a step over, because I had a class in high school with my friend Gene, and we took it just to mess around. I did children's theater, and I was always a jock. And then in line, it's the typical actor's story. There was a pretty girl, and she said, are you auditioning for the play tonight? I said, no. And she berated me, like, how that's what it's all about. It's about doing the plays. You have to do it. You gotta, all right. And then I played, but you're gonna be there. I just told you, it's all about the... So I went, and it's a funny story, because I'm a jock from Jersey, and this was for a musical. So I had to sing and dance. I got a call back because you had to tell a sad story. So I told this sad story about my dog that I was on the phone with Bobby Zimbardo. And Lucky ran out. I let him out just to go to the bathroom. And all of a sudden, I'm on the phone, and I hear tires screech and a dog yelping. That's a sad story. So I got a call back. And then I had to sing and dance, and so she got me the music, and the only play I'd seen, I grew up in Jersey, and my parents took me to see the original Pippin, which was unbelievable. And there's a song in there, Magic to Do. So she found sheet music, and we went over it, and I listened to the cast album and said, all right. So I go in, I show the sheet music to the piano playing guy, and then I took it. He says, what are you doing? I said, well, I have to sing this, don't I? He says, yeah, but you have to have it memorized. What do you think, I know this fucking music? And he did it in a very West Hollywood kind of way. He was screaming. And so I went up there, and I'm doing it. I forgot it, and I just remembered the refrain. We got magic to do, and I'm singing it, and they're saying, dance, dance. Now I don't know how old you are, but if people remember Freddie and the Dreamers, and there was a dance that they did, and it was called the Freddie, and it was do the Fred, right? So I'm singing and dancing. We got magic to do. We got magic. That's it, and I got the part.
So you study theater at the University of Miami, and then you come back to New York. And what were those years like before you started getting work in film and getting notoriety?
Well, the first... I worked at the Schubert organization, and I was, the guys, you go to a Broadway show, and I was the guy that was pouring the beer and wine and whatever, taking the jackets. So it gave me time for auditioning, and I got to be around, theater Broadway, and but within a month of the third day I was in New York, I got a commercial. The next day I had an agent. Within a week I had a manager from graduating high. And then I got onto a soap opera, and I did a soap opera for 3.5 years, which was the best training in the world for me. And I said, but I really want to be in movies. So at 26, I quit the soap and moved to LA. And then nothing happened for like 5 years. Like every now and then I'd have a guest shot. For some reason, they wanted to make a series out of Casablanca with David Soul. And
I remember that show.
I did that, and I played Sasha, the bartender, who basically didn't speak. What's it called? Really, my mind just goes, where are we again?
Just about the years before you, I mean.
Oh, yeah, before.
Something Wild is really.
Well, that was,
put you
that
on the
finally
map.
came along, and I knew Melanie's husband, Stephen Bauer, one of her husbands, the husband at that time. I went to college with him, and my parents, who are into politics, are very, you call people and you do something for me, I do something for you. And I said, no, I want to get this on my own. And I was so down. I was 30 years old. I hadn't done a movie. And I'm like, oh, man, all right, I'm going to call Melanie. I called Melanie. I said, I hear you're doing it was the guys in my acting class. As soon as I got to New York, to LA, I got into an acting class and did that twice a week, 6 hours a night, just to keep the instrument going. And getting your instrument together makes it easier to submit when you have to cry about your daughter. I was committed to once I decided this is what I was going to do, this is what I was going to do. And it's been happening, just not at the pace I wanted. You wanted at 25, and maybe, it didn't happen until 31 is when I did my first movie. Where was I?
Well, Something Wild, I mean, that performance really.
Then I got that. Yeah, I called Melanie up. I said, Melanie, please. She called Jonathan Demme. Jonathan said, Melanie, I got it down to 3 people. Please don't do this to me. And he promised her, because she had a bad experience with her husband in a movie before, that she would have a say. So I think she just wanted to exercise that perk that they gave her. But I went in, and I think Jonathan was there, and that was a Monday. And I said, all right, if I'm not going to get it, it's not going to be a casting agent turning me down. I'd rather the director or somebody sees it. Not that, some casting directors are unbelievable. Others, the ones here are great. I got a call on Tuesday that they wanted me to come in and read with an actress that they hired to do one of the parts. And I once I knew I was going to meet them, I would do my homework. I went, I did the scene. Okay, now if I don't get the job, it's because, for whatever the reason, but I went, I acted, they saw it. Then you start realizing as you get older that it's not you, it's just not what they had in mind. On Thursday, I get a call. They say, Jonathan wants you to come in and do scenes with Jeff Daniels. Now, Jeff Daniels and Melanie Griffith were in this movie, Something Wild. So I'm watching Johnny Carson, and Jeff Daniels comes on, and he's talking about Jack, and he's talking about Woody. He had just done Terms of Endearment and The Purple Rose of Cairo. Right away, I'm doing push-ups. As soon as I see him, all right, I got to get ready. I don't care. And I just wanted it and did so much homework that I really did what I wanted to do in that audition. Now, I did it with the actor. I did it with Jonathan in front of me. If I don't get this, what could I do? Saturday, I get a call. that Jonathan is leaving tomorrow for New York. He wants to meet me for his plane before he leaves. So it was on Super Bowl Sunday. I went and we just had a general regular conversation. He says, all right, well, this caught me by surprise here. I've had it down to 3 people. I'm going to go back to New York and think about this. And in the middle of the week, I'll have a decision and let you know one way or the other. So to me, the middle of the week is Monday. So, but nothing happened, obviously. Tuesday, nothing happened. Wednesday, nothing happened. Now, that's the middle of the week. So I'm saying, oh, man, well. And then Thursday, Scorsese did the same thing. They have assistants to tell you to be ready because they're going to call in 20 minutes. And instead of just saying, hey, Marty, here. So I knew I had like at, 3:13, I was going to get a call from Jonathan. And he called and he said, Ray, would you like to be Ray? And I just broke. I just started crying. It was so much of wanting to do it and to get there and to feel, because I read everything. I would, People magazine, whatever, you're reading about an actor. Okay, all right, I'm learning this about this person. I'm learning this about this person, whatever. When I started, the only entertainment magazine was, what is it? I don't know. Whatever it was. Now there's 1,000.
Yeah.
So that's how I got that.
Yeah. And then does your life just change overnight after that movie comes out and people see you? I mean, you start getting offers for big movies and acclaim and awards, and how did you handle that?
With ease. By that time, I'm 30 years old, and this is what I'm doing. Just get the fuck out of my way. I'm doing it. This is gonna happen. And you just keep that mentality, and it wasn't like angry as that, but after I did something wild, I went right back into class. I then did a movie, Dominic and Eugene, went back into class. Field of Dreams, back into class. Goodfellas, back into class. The next one, so for 12 years, from the 5 years where nothing happened, 7 of those years, I was still studying as I was making movies, because the way this is a Harry Marshall George in LA. It's just, for me, just the best ever. But your imagination is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it's going to get. And all we're doing is playing imagination. We're imagining ourselves, or but with different person's thoughts. Yeah.
So Dominic and Eugene, and also Field of Dreams, are very different characters than the character you played in Something Wild. Was that? Did you think about that and want to not get typecast as the psycho and play very different roles, or did it just happen?
Totally. I was aware of being typecast. Everyone thinks I'm Italian because of Liotta, but I'm adopted. I later found out I'm just white trash, man. I'm just a little bit. I'm a little bit of everything in there. Liotta is just the guy, my father, whose last name is Liotta because his, Italian lineage and heritage. So
you didn't want to just be cast as
yeah, so I waited
Bugs.
a year to do Dominic and Eugene, and it's beautiful. And Tom Hulse was just, who had done Amadeus before that, was just unbelievable. It was a great movie. It was really a good movie. And yeah, and then Field of Dreams just landed in my lap. And then Goodfellas was, oof, that's a story.
Let's hear that story.
I had heard so many different versions of how I got it, but I knew I was I knew I was the first person that Marty saw. And we met, and then later I heard that Marty saw Bob at a party. Bob said, so what are you working on now? And he said, I'm doing this thing, Goodfellas. I forget the names of the movies sometimes, I really do. And he said, isn't that the one where the guy does this, that, and the other thing? And he said, yeah. This is when I'm kind of cutting way ahead, but this is when I knew Marty was interested in seeing me. But so when Bob said yes to playing Jimmy Conway, the studio said, okay, you could have Ray. But the biggest thing when it really happened is I was at the Venice Film Festival with Dominic and Eugene. I took my dad with me, and we're at the Excelsior Hotel. Is this big old hotel, and there's a balcony on the second floor looking down on the lobby. And all of a sudden, I see this crowd of people, and in the middle of this big group was Marty, and I hadn't talked to him in months, but I just wanted to remember, I just wanted him to remember me. And so I ran down. No, he was there. The reason why there were all these bodyguards around him is because he was there for Last Temptation of Christ, which there was a lot of controversy about, and I guess he was getting threats. I come running down, and I just want to say, hey, Marty. And he saw me, and all this, the bodyguards, they're pushing me away, and I'm saying, no. I just want to say hi to Marty. I don't want to do anything. And he said that's when he cast me. That's when he decided I would do it, because he had seen me being a maniac and something wild. He didn't see Dominic and Eugene. I sent him, it was VHS, and he said he couldn't. It was just bad quality, and for somebody like him, that's, so he just said, fuck that, I'm not watching it. Sucks to be him. But where was I?
So that's how you got cast in Goodfellas. And then once you're starting to work on the film, what was the experience like? I mean, you must have known you were...
No, not at all. What happened was, okay, this is my fourth movie. Never wanted to be an actor. At that time, not to bring everyone down, but it's really what happened. My mother had cancer. And here I was working with these guys, and she's facing death. So there was no way I was going to be intimidated by Marty and Bob and Joe, and Lorraine was there. Like, I didn't care. And my mom actually died in the middle of it. And Joe and the Teamsters, they came to the funeral, because I just grew up 45 minutes outside of the city. I broke. My knees literally buckled when they told me I really have to get home this weekend. And so Marty came in, and he doesn't know what to do. He's, a good boy. And we went to the funeral, and Monday I was back, and the first scene that I did back was when Henry was having his most fun. It's when Lorraine comes charging at Henry and saying, "Who do you think you are, Frankie Valli, standing me up?" And blah. I'm laughing, and that was the first scene I had to do from that. But it was just an unbelievable experience, because to play pretend with people with that energy and passion, to make, really, if you think about what we do as grown-ups, it's really silly, but it's really an interesting puzzle to put together if you take it on. You're shooting this here, and then you got to do the first thing there, and so you try to put this puzzle together, and hopefully that it's all, and that challenge is just only done by homework and submitting to the story.
And then you worked with De Niro again on Copland. Great movie.
Oh, thanks.
Does it help to have worked with someone before? I mean, do you have a shorthand with someone like that, or is it just starting over from scratch?
Yeah, the shorthand was, hey. That was it. It wasn't like a real, he's not a talky kind of guy, and I'm not gonna go and I didn't really have any scenes with him.
Yeah.
But I did hear a scene, I guess I could tell it. This is funny. So Harvey Keitel's in it, and Bob's doing this they're working together for the first time since Mean Streets. So Jim Mangold told me that they literally, for what Bob would say, all right, I think I should get up and go over here when that happens. And Harvey says, yeah, no, but I'm the captain. I think that would be my spot. And then he says, oh, I'm gonna pick this up and probably, maybe have something to drink here. And Harvey's saying, no, but I think I'm more thirsty. I think I should probably do it. And they did it all day and never got anything on film. See, the inside stories are fun. That's what I've learned, because I've been really, really lucky. I've worked with Burt Lancaster and Vanessa Redgrave and Bob and Al Pacino, Gene Hackman, Robert Duvall. And what you find out is they're just actors learning their lines and they would mess up a line, and when Duvall messed up a line, it was everybody in the world's it was because of them that the line was forgotten. And he went nuts one day where there was like 200 extras, and then there had to be 500 or 600 people watching the what we were doing, and he just went off and went nuts. But he's like passionate about what he's doing. That's to an extreme, but I wasn't that kind of diva.
We have some questions from the audience. The first question is, what project in your career has left the most profound effect on you, and why?
Well, it'd have to be Goodfellas, just to this day, it's like it came out yesterday. I get 13, 14-year-old kids coming up to me, and my first question is, what kind of parents do you have? You're a little young to have seen that. Well, all right, thanks. So it would have to be that.
And what was it like for you as a Jersey boy playing Frank Sinatra in the Rat Pack?
Oh, it was brutal. The sisters asked me, Tina and Nancy asked me, they did a mini series, and I said, just no, I'm not an imitator. I don't have that ability. I wish I did, but I don't. So, but then HBO was doing this thing called Rat Pack, and I said no. And then my agent at that time, the one good thing she did was she kind of just said, don't worry, I'll get him to do it. And she was probably lying about stuff not coming in, or this one's crap. The best one out there is Rat Pack, So, and then I'm saying, wait a second, I'm an actor. One of the things that, like Harry used to call like an apocalypse, that you should never care about the judgment of others, because it's going to inhibit what you're doing now, so either you like the show or you don't like the show. Get me back there again.
Frank Sinatra, just the pressure of playing.
Yeah, so I just decided to do it. And I did so much homework. I was listening to his music, because that was my parents' music. So I didn't, how kids are, and it's too slow. And I did it, and Joe Mantegna, who was cast, he called me up and said, don't worry about it, man. Just do it, and we'll have fun. And I said, well, singing and dancing. I am a musical guy. I can do the Freddie. How hard could this be? So I said yes, and it was a blast. It was fun. It really was.
I also wanted to ask you about the episode of ER that you did, Time of Death. I don't know if anyone remembers that episode, but it's a real-time episode where you're actually dying.
Wait a second. Oh, yeah, that's the one I got the Emmy.
That's the one you got the Emmy for. That's right. Yeah.
Actually, Jack, who's our showrunner,
yes,
worked over. What were you doing there, Jack? Oh, there you are. What were you doing there?
Showrunner, right?
Oh, I thought you were over there. I keep.
I'm just wondering what it was like shooting that episode. I mean, it seems like such an acting challenge to.
Yeah, exactly. It was an alcoholic at the end of his alcoholism, realized he's gonna dead and has an estranged relationship with his son, and so they have me talking with him, and I'm laying there, and realizing, like me personally, I'm scared of death, like no, a little. And this is what I had to imagine all the time, and it brought all these emotions up of thinking, you know, leaving your family, leaving your son. You had a, you know, you never had a relationship with your son. Like, wow, that's and it's the end of life. It's like, it's just really, for what? What could be so bad about, you know, or go so wrong that you don't have a relationship with a family member? So it really hit me in that way. And again, it was written great. It was shot great. I think Chris Chulak, who's a great director, directed it. So it was tough. It was emotional to put your head there. You asked me before if I'm method or anything like that. In the beginning, I definitely was, because I was so afraid that I would lose it. And so you keep it there all the time. And then as years go by, and you know, you have to do something maybe that you didn't really want to do, but you had to do. And so there's a kind of like, whatever. And what it did, it gave me a freedom and realized, wait a second, it's pretend. Just pretend you're doing this, and you don't have to like drink all night because your character drinks. It's stupid, and you'll probably forget your lines because you're hungover. But I definitely kept it pretty close. I still do. Like if I'm doing a scene and the director comes up and they give me a note. If I'm in a scene where I'm edged up, I say, yeah, got it. I got your fucking note. Just let me do this out of the way. And because that's what the character is lined up. And I learned, well, this year there was a whole different story because the directors and everything was great. I think NBC wasn't sure what this show was going to be at first. And then we started getting all these numbers, and all of a sudden we became, all of a sudden, too many people are calling Jack. You got to do this, change that. All right, whatever. And then somebody else calls up, and so it's a challenge for him.
Last question is from Jeanette Rule. What's the most challenging aspect of creating a character that you feel you have nothing in common with?
Well, I always look at it or the way that, again, Harry said, it's not the personal you, it's the human you. And you as a human can relate to anything. You might not agree, you might have judgment. Well, you can't have judgment about it. You just have to, if you choose to take it, just take on the story that's being told. And, you know, it's not lines, they're thoughts. So get the thoughts in order. And so I don't know if anything's been the most challenging. I mean, maybe Dumbo drop because it was with an elephant in Thailand. We did. We had an elephant. It was a true story. And we're on a boat with like this elephant, and I said, oh my God, this is crazy. And then you find yourself missing the elephant, so you go down where at night, and you go down where he's hanging out, and you just say hi and how you doing. It was great. It really was. That was challenging.
Yeah. Well, this certainly wasn't. You were a great guest. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Ray Liotta.
Thank you.